Hey John, got some great news. We've got a sponsor.
Have we?
Big thanks to the guys at Viking Covers for coming on board and supporting My Dad's Car podcast. Please check them out at vikingcovers.co.uk if you're looking for indoor or outdoor car covers. You'll be hearing a lot more from them soon, but for now, here's the episode.
Welcome to my dad's car. Enjoy!
Welcome to My Dad's Car, a podcast discussing our personal relationship with automotive nostalgia. And you know what? It doesn't even have to be about your dad's car. It can be your mum's, your grand's, your parents', guardians, or even a neighbour's. If it made an impression, let's talk about it. Okay, John, we've been to the NEC Classic Car Show. We had a lovely time.
We did. We had a lovely weekend, didn't we? Friday and Saturday this year. I think it's the first time we've been there on a Friday, and it was incredibly busy. A lot of buzz.
Yeah, it was very busy, and fortunately this time round we booked an Airbnb not on a flight path.
Yeah, no, I didn't hear any planes actually. It was very nice.
Once we found it, it was a labyrinth, wasn't it, to get in there?
Yeah, there were some runway lights scattered around my bed, but I should have taken some pictures of this. But for the benefit of the tape, there were some sort of neon lights that came on via a sensor every time I entered my bedroom, and they could not be switched off.
Undercar neons, it's like the Fast and Furious.
Yeah. There was a remote which I had to keep reaching for during the night because I'm quite tall and the bed wasn't the longest. I would occasionally set them off, obviously, when my legs sort of overhung the bed. Yeah, but all in all, yeah, it was a good trip, good digs, and some good conversations for us along the way.
Yeah, definitely. So Friday we were in the podcast lounge or podcast cafe as it became, weren't we?
Mm.
Which I think had some benefits. It was more central. The kind of the downside, I think, see, there's a lot of people there for croissants and coffee and not really paying much attention to the headline act.
Yeah,
But we were joined by Barney Dines, who's my boss at Heritage. So that episode will follow. We had a nice chat with him. A bit of Ford content in there, wasn't there? Mark 1 Mexico's.
yeah,
So that was cool. So yeah, we had a chat with him. As you will hear shortly, we kind of ran around the halls on the Friday and the Saturday, interviewing people, just asking them for their earliest car memories. So you'll have the pleasure of those shortly. Friday afternoon, we spoke to Nick Whale, didn't we, of Iconic Auctioneers?
that was really good. Yeah, very kind of Nick and his team to be so accommodating as well, because they kind of take up a large part of the arena, don't they, of their auction business. And they were kind enough to provide a little bit of space inside what was it, a Land Rover Airstream conversion type thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, basically, wasn't it? Yeah, it was a Land Rover with, if people kind of are aware of an Airstream caravan, like the big sort of silver bullet type 50s caravan.
Mm.
So it's a camping conversion sort of being built on the back of that. Yeah, it was sort of all wood clad, wasn't it, inside? Some seating. We had a table for the microphones, and we sat for, 25, 30 minutes, didn't we, in the back of there?
Very hot.
It was slightly hot. We had to close the tailgate and the doors, didn't we, to sort of keep some of the hustle and bustle and noise out.
Yeah.
But really nice interview with him. Again, very pleased to have some of his time. We'll be sharing that with you sort of shortly. And then, Saturday, the real highlight for the podcast. Andrea was very kind and booked us Mike Brewer, didn't she? So
Yeah. I mean, we knew that he was kind of there all weekend, didn't we? And obviously pulled from pillar to post with various duties that he's got while he's there. So yeah, I mean, it was a massive result for us, for him to take a little bit of time out and sit down with us. I think I think he's probably grateful of the sit down.
But yeah, when you listen to the interview, that's what he says. He's like, "Oh, thank you, thank you. I got to sit down for half an hour."
Yeah.
And I'd met him once before, and really nice guy. Yeah, genuine chat with some great stories.
Yeah.
We won't spoil them now, but we'll be getting that out ASAP, because I think see, people who heard it or sort of caught part of it will be wanting to hear the rest of it, and hopefully, his name will also attract a few more people to the podcast, and in turn, to sort of forthcoming episodes that we've got. So
yeah, I mean, Mike's one of the big hitters, isn't he, in the industry on TV, and you can tell how warmly received he is by all the fans and attendees that were there at the weekend. You can see they really keen to see him and have a chat with him, aren't they, where possible, which is obviously tricky for him because I think he had to race across, didn't he, from one stage to us, and
Yeah.
in the midst of that, wasn't able to sign a couple of bits of memorabilia or something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. That will be coming soon. Yeah, for your listening pleasure now, we've got probably 20 or 30 or so interviews from around the hall. So if we did speak to you over the weekend, thank you very much. And yeah, stay tuned now for the people we spoke to. So we bumped into Ian at the Rover Sports Register, and he's got a lovely Marauder sports car, but that's another story. Ian, what is your earliest car memory?
Of actually having a J40 pedal car bought for me, and then ultimately colliding it with the back of a police Land Rover out in Nigeria, where my parents lived and where I lived at the time.
Whoops, what happened? Were you going down a hill too fast, or?
Well, there was a search for speed because a J40 is quite heavy and our garden was flat, and my parents were more used to animals and children, and they were a bit surprised, I think, when I arrived, and I was left much to my own devices. So I had some of my little local friends who used to come along and we'd mess around, and but the pedal car, yeah, you could have a couple of decent pushers, but it still wouldn't go very quick. But I knew of a hill, so basically it was decided that I would take this out. I was 5 at the time, and we'd take it out and try the hill. Which was great because you could clam in 3 sort of 5-year-olds into the sort of bench seat and a couple standing on the bumper, and away you go. But the thing gathered speed. I can remember to this day, gathered speed, and then the handbrake, or the brake that just worked on one rear wheel, wasn't really sufficient. So my friends sort of decanted, apart from the 2 that were sitting next to me. It didn't start to slow down, but not enough, because ahead was a police Land Rover parked. Duly collided with the rear of it. What the 2 police, they were local African police, thought when they'd decanted, because they obviously didn't see anything in the mirror, to find a J40 pedal car embedded in the back of their Land Rover. Well, 3 sort of 5-year-olds sort of sitting there. I have no idea. So I was taken home in disgrace, made to promise I'd never do it again. But I'll never go on the road again. And even then, a sort of bit of logic was there, and there was a thirst for speed. And I remembered that there was a sort of fairly flat footpath down to the town that my mother used to walk down and take me. And there was nothing in the instruction about footpaths. So I then took it out on the footpath, and it was great, except for I'd forgotten that at the bottom there was a stream where the local women used to do their washing, and an uphill the other side. And I hadn't worked out, obviously, in those days. It was just a sort of straight thinking how the hell I was going to get the car back to the house anyway. So I hit the stream, and, you know, even amount of frantic beeping. I can remember these women trying to run, but they didn't run quick enough. And then, of course, I get halfway up the hill the other side, and then it sort of reverses back down and does it again. Brought back in disgrace again. And the car was confiscated, and I seem to remember there was money passed over by my mother, you know, sort of...
Thank you very much. That's great. That's brilliant. We've bumped into Richard. Richard, what's your earliest car memory?
My earliest car memory is my dad had a Rover 45, solar red, hatchback, Impression S with a spoiler. He loved it. And I remember pulling the door handle very gently and it completely coming off in my hand, the whole assembly, everything. And he was sat in the car going, "You're not getting in." And I just held it up to the window. And my punishment was that I had to fit the new door handle. And that got me started on cars.
So it's all his fault?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But he wears that as a badge of honour.
Cool. Thank you very much. So we found Josh on the Mark 1 Golf Owners Club. Josh, you got a lovely Mark 1 GTI. Congratulations. Josh, what's your earliest car memory?
My dad's E30, which was white, convertible, red leather. I remember growing up, listening to, what's the song called? Warranty, driving around. Regulate, my favourite. That was my biggest memory growing up, was in cars.
Fantastic. What a dad.
Best ever. And
thank you very much. We've also grabbed Alex from Iconic Auctioneers. Alex, what's your earliest car memory?
I think it was probably... So my dad was a massive petrol head, and he was flirting with getting a Ferrari, a 308 GT4, which he got in the end. I remember being 4 in the back of my mum's car, being convinced that we were going to go and pick up this Ferrari, to realise he was actually going to get a Rover 400.
Oh no.
Which was a bit of a disappointment. But then again, lots of fun in the Rover 400, to be honest. And he did. When I was 5, he got this 308 GT4, which was just, Yeah, incredible.
A bit like an early Mondial, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, although I don't think he'd like you for saying that. But yeah, I mean, this was when you could pick one up for like 15 grand. He wasn't rich by any stretch of the imagination, but it just shaped my childhood, to be honest, that car in the end. It was fantastic.
Marvellous. Thank you very much. Okay, we found ourselves at the Mighty Mini stand and we bumped into Sue. Sue, what's your earliest car memory?
Okay, my earliest car memory is my dad showing me pictures of his Austin 7, and he had 2 of them. The second one, he cut the back off and made it into a pickup, and he carted straw around to feed his family pigs at the time. He then progressed to Minis. As a family car, we had a good old Toyota Carina. We had that later on, and then as time went on, Dad had, various cars. Later on, Dad's 80th birthday, we decided to surprise him and buy him an Austin 7 so he could relive those memories of years ago. Sadly, he passed away in February, but at least we've got all the videos and the memories of him having that car, and he drove it around, and he then went to a Morris Minor after that when he was 85, because that was just slightly easier to drive. So cars have always really been in my life in one way or another.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, also with the Mighty Mini group, we've found John Jenkins. John, what was your earliest car memory?
My earliest car memory was AUV 413B, which is a 1964 green Cortina Estate, Mark I Cortina Estate, my dad's car. And following that, he had a brown Zodiac, can't remember the registration. But one of the interesting aspects of that is when we had a serious puncture on the old M1, which would have been in the late 60s, where the rear leaf spring decided to break and cut the tyre in half. On the outside lane of the M1, he managed to drive into the hard shoulder. We waited about an hour and a half, 5 of us in the car, no, 6 of us. My nan was there too. We had some bread rolls to keep us occupied as kids. And then they towed us off the motorway with a recovery truck, but they didn't take us into the recovery truck. They lifted the back of the Zodiac and they towed us the wrong way down the motorway with 6 of us in the car watching cars come towards us. So that was quite an interesting one. And I always remember that the Mark I Cortina, the rear hatchback, one of the springs had broke. And we were driving to London. We had family in London. We were driving to London. And I remember Dad seeing a burnt out one in a lay-by on the way there. On the way back, we stopped opposite this burnt out car on a motorway. He went across the central reservation. He took the hinge off of this car. In doing so, managed to badly cut his hand, came back. It was dark. He was bleeding, but he'd got his hinge for the back of the car to make it good.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much.
We are at the group for LGBTQ plus classic car enthusiasts, and we've got Tim here, who's going to tell us what his earliest car memory is.
Hi, my earliest car memory is my dad's A95 Austin Westminster in pale green with a dark green flash. 404 BTT, as I recall. What a wonderful car that was. Wish I had it now. Unfortunately, it's probably in the big scrapyard in the sky, but fond memories of it nonetheless.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Tim.
We've grabbed Seb as well. So, Seb, what's your earliest car memory?
My earliest car memory was my dad's dark green Volkswagen Golf Mark III Rolling Stone edition. And the memory was we got rear-ended by a Skoda Felicia in orange, and all the paint left the Felicia onto the back of the dark green Golf and made a bit of a mess. And that was my earliest memory.
And was the car written off?
No, thank goodness.
Thank you very much.
We're at the Powerflex stand here at the NEC, and we've got Steve. What's your earliest car memory, Steve?
So my earliest car memory is being in my dad's A35 van, standing up. There was a little roof vent on the top in the back, and I remember standing there with my hand out the top and Dad telling me to sit down, but I couldn't sit down because there was no seats in the back.
Brilliant. What are you to do?
So we've been wandering the halls, John and I, and we bumped into Becca Treston, who, episode 10, episode 8, something like that, from back in the day, on the Women Drivers Social Club stand. How are you doing, Becca?
Doing really well, yeah. Having a great weekend so far, and it's only Friday afternoon.
This is great news. We've almost stumbled across a campsite. We've got a camper van, haven't we? An Airstream, an Audi 100 with a mattress in the back.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're celebrating the fact that we've done like these weekenders as part of a club. So we have individual day events, but then we also have events that are whole weekends. So we'll go away for a long weekend together to get people to travel a little bit further, have a bit more time together. And we've really enjoyed having the opportunity to sit round a campfire, sharing our stories, sharing our experiences. And so we wanted to bring a little bit of that to the NEC this weekend. So that's what we've done. We've got a little fireplace in the middle, and we've got a little tent set up, and we've kind of brought that experience of sitting around the campfire, and we all do sit round and we'll have a little chat and share stories, and new people that have come along will get the opportunity to have a sit and get to know what we're kind of about.
Fantastic. I noticed the marshmallows are bigger than the fire.
Well, you've got to have a really good marshmallow, haven't you? And the marshmallows are great because I don't know if you've noticed, but the ones that are actually on fire closer to the end are quite sad, whereas the guy at the bottom, these marshmallows have got faces on them. The guy at the bottom's having a wonderful time because he's not yet on fire. They were a vintage purchase, but I thought they were absolutely perfect for what we were doing.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, and great to see you.
Thanks very much.
Okay, we've met Chris. Chris, what's your earliest car memory?
So it's from the mid-90s. Friend's dad had a Ford Granada, and we used to stick 6 kids in the back and go off to the local fun park.
Sounds good. One of my scout leaders had a Ford Granada, and that's the first time I went over 100 miles an hour in the back of that. So, yeah, we could swap fantastic Granada stories. Cheers. Thank you very much. Okay, we found Penny at Iconic Auctioneers. Penny, what's your earliest car memory?
Having to save my brother in the Austin Allegro. So we had a mustard-coloured Austin Allegro, 1970s, black plastic seats. So it was either freezing cold or they were so hot you can sit on them. So he would have been in a carry cot, also mustard yellow. So like a little sort of basket thing.
Tasteful.
Very tasteful, very 1970s. And my job basically was to stop it tipping down behind the driver's seat. So no seatbelts. So on a sort of medium day when you weren't sticking to it or freezing to it, you'd sort of slide up and down as you went round corners. Yeah. Well, that's the car I remember first. So I probably would have been about 3 and he would have been about 1.5. And I think about the age of 5, we got seatbelts in the back of it. And then we sold it on the M32. We met somebody on the M32 just outside Bristol and sold it. And then Dad went for a Volvo.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. We've joined Roger at the Roots Archive Centre. Roger, what's your earliest car memory?
Probably my father's car, which was a standard coming from wartime, probably 46, 47, and it was called a Flying Standard. Standard 12 Flying Standard, sloping back.
Okay, what colour was it?
Blue.
Fantastic.
Then he had another standard, which was black, which was a post-war built car, and later on he moved to Fords. I didn't approve of that because later on, after my school, I joined Roots. That's my association with here.
Ah, that makes sense. Aha.
So I then, having joined Roots, I bought him cars from the company. So he had a succession of Hillmans, Singers, Sunbeam, Humber.
Makes sense. Thank you very much.
Hope it helps.
We've come to the historic marathon rally group, and we've got John here who's going to tell us his earliest car memory.
My earliest car memories will be back in early 60s and would have been the first minis out.
Brilliant. Did your family have a Mini at all, or was it just seeing them around, that sort of thing?
Not the family, but friends. Father had a brand new Mini back in 1960. Such a revolution compared with the old Morris thousands and that. And been a fond believer in Minis now, and I still own 3 of them.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, John.
We've wandered over to the Sirocco Register stand, and we found Howard. Howard, what's your earliest car memory?
My earliest car memory, my dad used to keep a shop in North Wales, Bangor, North Wales, and it was an electrical shop, and he had a van. We never had a car, a van, and my earliest memory is sitting in the front seat with my brother, bench seat, my brother by the door. My brother's older than me. I was in the middle, and my dad looking down at me from the steering wheel, massive Morris van steering wheel, and me looking up, smiling at him, and seeing the big red M in the middle of the steering wheel with the Morris logo.
Cool, thank you very much. Okay, we bumped into Greg as well over at the Arthur Daly stand. Greg, what's your earliest car memory?
My earliest car memory is Fiat 126P. This is kind of Italian-based car which was made in Poland in 70s, 60s and 80s, and then of course into 2000s. And this was a 650cc car with engine at the back. It was so small you could do, 0 to 60 in maybe 2 days, but in reality it never went that quickly. So we drove in it. You could have like 6 people in it on those days. And it was just good fun.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So I bumped into Maria on the Rover P6 Club. Maria, what's your earliest car memory?
My earliest car memory is being with my dad in our Rover P6 going down the M6 between Wolverhampton and Birmingham.
All the sixes. What colour was it?
It was Mexico brown.
Okay, and has he still got it, or?
I've still got it, and I've got to restore it at some point. So.
Okay, fantastic. And you're hands-on as well?
Yeah, I'm very hands-on. I've got a fleet of ragtag Rovers I've saved, the younger Rovers, so from the 2000s, like a couple of 25s, a trio of 75s. So
You've got it bad, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. I was born into this world. I've grown up with Rovers my entire life. I was one of the original child members of the Rover P6 Club when it was set up in 1993. And like I say, my family, I've always had Rover P6s, always had Rovers. My dad is a Rover P6 specialist. Like I say, I've got them as well. So
Par for the course. Thank you very much. So John and I have just had a bit of fun dressing up as After Daily on a classic car lot. We've joined by Jack from Classic Modern Retro. Jack, what's your earliest car memory?
So my very, very earliest car memory is a Montego estate with the rear-facing seats that my dad had that he bought from an auction, had it 3 years. Then the day he decided to sell it, it caught fire because of the radio wire. He decided to take the radio out of it and left the wire loose. It caught fire at the end of our road. But my brother used to sit in the back of it with me and we used to look at the back of it. I always remember that car.
I was going to make a hot wire joke there.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay, back at the historic rally group, we've found Steve next to a Mark 1 Escort rally car. Steve, what's your earliest car memory?
My earliest car memory is my dad having a Ford Anglia 105E company car, sitting in the back. I was only about 2, 3 maybe, and every time I saw a Mercedes-Benz, I used to say, Mercedes-Benz, because I couldn't pronounce Mercedes, and that was my car I always wanted to buy when I was that age. Never got round to it, never could afford one, but that's my very first early car memory, that is.
Lovely, thank you very much. We found Steph, who is Becca's sister. So, Steph, what's your earliest car memory?
So one of my earliest car memories is my parents selling the car that I came home in. Okay. His name was Bertie. I distinctly remember the day it was sold, of us sitting in the car, driving to the place where Dad gave it away. And then I proceeded to keep the for sale advert that Dad had created and put it on my wall for several months because I didn't really want it to go.
Oh, that's quite sad.
I was going to say, is your dad a monster? It sounds like...
No, I just think he had too many cars at the time. I think Rebecca was spoken about it in terms of the amount of cars he had. So it was just not appropriate for us to keep anymore because we were getting the cars that Mum and Dad were married in. So keeping that one meant the fleet would be too big. So it was the one that had to go so that we could keep the ones that they got married in.
Is Bertie still out there somewhere?
We do know. It's not taxed, so could have been a mistake.
If anyone's seen Bertie, let us know. Thank you very much. We've come over to the Classic VW Owners Club, and I bumped into my old friend, John from John Mitchell Racing. How are you doing, John?
Very good, Andy. Very good. Good to see you.
What's your earliest car memory?
My earliest car memory with the man who started all my car dreams for me, and it was my then cousin's husband, who was a pilot for British Airways, a really sort of massive individual in my whole concept of how people should be. He was this pilot, flashy uniform, flying jet aircraft, and he owned a TVR Vixen Series 3, the tuned Ford Crossflow sitting in it, and of course in a car that weighed about as much as a fag packet. It really, really, really went well. And this guy, much to my aunt's horror, whisked me up, strapped me into this car, and we went herring off down the road over the Hog's Back. And I absolutely was set on fire by it. It was an amazing experience. And from that day, I've just wanted to recreate that moment time and time again with every car I've owned.
Fantastic. And would you buy a TVR?
Oh, massively, yeah. And if I saw a TVR Vixen Series 3 up for grabs, and it was going for the sort of money that you could just about get to now. Whereas once before they were like a few £100 as a basket case. Now you have to pay fortunes. But if I could, I would, for sure, 100%.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, mate.
There we go, John. There was some good ones in there, I think.
Yeah, a nice spread as usual. And I think, just like previous years or previous times that we've done a similar sort of thing to this, it amazes me the reaction people give. You kind of stick a microphone in their face and they get a bit sheepish, but then you can see the cogs turning, can't you? And then all of a sudden they're off.
Yeah.
They could probably talk for, not just 30 seconds, but 5-10 minutes or so on various aspects of their memory.
Yeah, we've got a few in there. We've got some longer ones, some shorter ones, and I won't kind of go sort of through them all now. You've just listened to them, but yeah, we enjoy doing that. It obviously gives us another opportunity to sort of tell people about the podcast, and hopefully, some of you who we did speak to at the weekend will have had a listen to that, sort of enjoyed those stories, and we would encourage you to sort of go and explore the back catalogue because there's plenty of others where they came from. So thanks to everyone we saw at the show. We had a really good time. And hopefully we'll be able to do it again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool. Okay, we will wrap that up. Roll the credits.
Thank you for listening to My Dad's Car. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please support us. Buy us a coffee and subscribe. And tell all your friends.